I didn't want to interrupt. I'll call the orders meeting of the Park and Rec Commission, Wednesday, March 6, 2024. First thing on thing is approval of previous minutes, meeting minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from the February 7th meeting.
I'll second that motion.
A second. All right. Do we got a vote on that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Do we have any discussion on them, I guess? First. All right, we'll take a vote on it. All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? All right, minute pass. Approval of claims. I only printed off one sheet, is that right?
Yes. Yep.
Anybody got anything? There's only one sheet of claims. Anybody got any question? All right, look to a motion to approve the claims.
I'll make a motion to accept the claims as printed.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, claims approved. Next agenda item is continued discussion of connector trail names. And I'll let you take over.
Okay. In here, you'll see the sheet I just compiled. I received 5 responses back out of the 7. And the top 3 are listed on there, so I guess I just kind of did a little tally on my own. But we had Prairie River Pathway had 3 what I would consider first place votes. Ted's Prairie River Trail had a first and a third. Tributary Trail had 2 second place votes, and River Rats Prairie River Pathway was 2 second place votes as well. So we don't. It depends on what you guys want to do. We can decide off of this, or now that we've got them narrowed down, I don't know if you want to sit on it for a month and vote on those are kind of the 4 that received multiple from everybody. So it's up to you guys how you want to do it. Or do you just want to pick one?
It doesn't really matter to me, I guess. I guess since there's 2, Dan isn't here and then Rebecca's not here, so I don't know if we should decide or not.
I would like to make a motion, since Prairie River Pathway was nominated by, and got 3 votes, that we make a motion to name the trail Prairie River Pathway. It's short, sweet, to the point, not a whole lot of verbiage. No acronym would be needed. So I would like to make a motion to approve that name.
I'll second it. I didn't vote, but that was the one I initially thought too. I thought sounded good.
Okay.
All right, we got a second. Any more comment?
I guess I'll just put my opinion out there. I guess I feel like having Prairie Trails and Prairie River Pathway is kind of redundant in a way, but it's fine to me. I'm not going to argue it.
All right. Well, all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, Prairie River Pathway it is on.
All right. Thank you.
Second thing on there is updated 5-year capital plan discussion.
Okay. Chairperson Novich asked me to put this back on, and more so just to show you guys, after our discussion down in the basement last month, we had talked about moving a couple of things up into the schedule and slotting a few things. So he wanted me to put it on here and update the copy just to show you guys that it's in there. Some of the things that we had you guys had highlighted to take off of the narrative list on the second page and put it back up on here. So I did that, and like we had as part of our discussion last time, this is not a binding document or anything. We use this more so as a guide when we get ourselves into actual budget time, end of summer, early fall. So if anybody has anything that they want to add, remove, we can change this whenever we want. Again, this is just a guide to kind of help us along the way here. We'll take the microscope to the 2025 portion of this, and I guess the remainder of it when we look at our budgetary asks for next year. So, any questions?
The only thing, like I said that last meeting, maybe for, as we complete this year, leave this year's completed on there. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So that we could just see what we finished and what we're going to.
Okay.
Kind of nice, I think.
Yep.
I would like to request something new. Since possibly we might have sidewalk going into Riverside Park, an entrance, pedestrian entrance off of O'Day Street into Riverside Park, bike and walk. I know we didn't have it in the original sidewalk plan, but to keep that accessible, safe, and lit, it's a lot easier to get in that way than through Lover's Lane or whatever they call it. A lot easier to get a stroller and a bike through there. I mean, you don't have to worry about washouts. So,
Wheelchairs.
wheelchairs too, yeah.
Yeah.
I would say initial planning of it. Okay,
Okay.
I'm not saying construction per se yet, but at least the planning of what could potentially lead to a better pedestrian biking. And I don't know what the trail committee is doing now. Somebody said they might have control of that other side of Riverside, that Lover's Lane. And if they could develop that, you could have a nice loop trail for bikers and walkers through that park. So that's my thought
Okay.
of maybe something long-range planning. Okay?
Thanks. We can do that. It would require, for ADA accessibility, there'll have to be a fair amount of switchbacks, so we'll have to plan
Yeah.
that. It'll probably have to weave its way through the woods a little bit.
Yeah, you know the terrain more than I.
Yep.
I know that's a steep hill in there.
Yep.
But
we can get it, if we'd have to use the woods to accomplish that.
Yeah.
But it can be done.
I don't know if you have maybe thoughts of before. I don't know if you had ideas of before this, what you might have.
Yeah, we've thought of it, but yeah, just with the steepness of that entryway off of O'Day, our rise and run has to be less than 5%.
Even to shoot it across to the other side of the road. I don't know.
Well, we would wrap it behind the bell tower, the residence, or what those other buildings. What are those
Because
duplexes?
you do have a lot of people in that neighborhood that do walk, and you'd have bell tower residents and visitors from out of town,
Yep.
and that would be very accessible to them as well.
And to do it, we would have to start from where the entrance is by the golf course, but on the north side of the road, and go into the woods, and then it would have to meander its way back and forth.
Okay, just a thought.
The O'Day is being replaced this year, or was it
This
This year.
Okay. So I guess maybe they could, street department could help plan it too.
Yeah, we'll work with Rod, our city engineer, on that. He's the brains behind the design stuff.
Yeah.
He has all the software to do it. Most of it's just shooting elevations,
Right.
so.
make a little chute with the leftover blacktop. Is a splash pad like totally off the docket? Can I put that on that for future?
Nothing's totally off.
Can I?
We
could
do what you
add-
guys tell us to do. I do what you tell me to do.
I would like to see that.
Okay?
Some year. Thank you.
Yeah.
I guess I see replacing the boardwalk at Prairie Trails. I guess what do you?
That's being done this year by Eagle Scout.
Oh, okay. Well, that's a great answer.
Anything else?
Pool, how's the pool looking? How's our pool looking?
Empty.
Aquatic center. When do you start filling that thing up?
We'll start filling probably middle end of May.
Yeah.
We don't want to fill it too early because then we have to heat it and treat it, but it will probably be middle end of May.
Cracks are all taken care of, or filters. Okay. Does Badger Pool come up and check it before you fill it, or?
Yep, so they
You
do
know,
the
when the frost is
winterization.
coming out and stuff.
They do the winterization and the unwinterization,
Okay.
so they'll come up sometime probably in mid-May, shortly before we're ready, because they'll come one time and they check everything over, and then they'll put plugs and other stuff, and we have them do that so that they can test, pressure test and other things. Then we fill it, and then they come back, and then they bump all of our VFD drives and stuff for our pumps and motors
Okay.
on, and then that way, if we do have issues, they can fix them while they're there.
Are you done pruning trees this year?
No,
Okay.
no.
East Main Street Boulevard, suckers coming out of some of those
Yeah,
Japanese elm and
Yeah,
maple.
that's
just,
on our to-do list,
Okay.
yeah.
And
Sprouts.
by the way, the people at Lark Street, thank you for removing 2 of those trees also.
More happy customers.
Yeah.
2 of them.
All right. We'll jump ahead to the next 2024 Beerman Family Aquatic Center operating hours.
Okay, Dawn and I were talking about this along with our returning head lifeguard about the possibility of shifting our hours or our operating time ahead a half hour on the front and back end. So instead of noon to 7, we're proposing 11:30 to 6:30. Couple of reasons. It'd be nice to shift it a little further even, because I think we probably would do very well if we could do 10:30 or 11, but we would not have the availability of enough lifeguards to do that consistently just because of middle school pool and swim lessons and all of that stuff that happens during the summertime. But at least this way, we get a chance to capture the people that are already there, ready and waiting to get into the pool. They're always there before noon. And on the flip side, our numbers really do, especially June, July, dwindle as we get towards the end, just because, as we get towards 7 o'clock, Little League, soccer, all the other things that are going on. I think that this might help us from just a straight numbers standpoint and capturing more of what I think people are showing us they want, just judging by the people as they come pulling into the driveway. So it sounds like this will work. 11:30 right now is about as early as we can get. The lifeguards would have just enough time to finish up whatever shift that they have at the middle school, jump in their vehicles and get out by us and have enough time to get what they need to get done, and be ready to open up. It's just a slight adjustment. So, anybody have any issues with that? We're still getting, they'll still get the same amount of time. We're not slighting any lifeguards' wages, part-time wages for the summertime. It's just taking this and sliding it a half hour in each direction, or the same direction but one way.
So that lifeguard starts in the morning at the middle school. At what time?
What are there, 8? 8, I believe,
And
yeah.
then goes till
Oh, yeah.
11, and then they'll have what, an hour? Or? Okay, and then how long will that be?
Till 6:30, 11:30 to 6:30?
It's a long day.
Well, a lot of them, if it's too long, what they do is they request to be done at 3:30 and then they'll split their shift.
Okay,
So they'll work the morning
Okay.
and then part of the day by us, and then they'll split their shift with somebody else who doesn't want to work a full shift either.
okay.
And if we have enough too, there might be times where we can, have guards that aren't working a shift at the middle school pool, and they can be out and help get some of those things ready to go so that it's not such a fire drill every time. So,
Are you set with lifeguards?
I think we're pretty good on numbers.
There are 22 coming.
Yeah, which is,
Wonderful, from where we were.
Yeah, so, we're hoping
Great.
to pick up a couple more,
Great.
and I think we had one apply today, and I think I have one in my pile right up, so.
Wonderful.
So what do you attribute it to? Higher pay or
well, the higher pay definitely helps.
flexibility?
Flexibility helps too. The other part was just talking about it more and having a good atmosphere out by us. If you treat them well, they'll return. Flexibility helps them return.
Mhm.
The school, the school has been a lot more supportive. It's something that you don't realize until you neglect isn't the right word, but sometimes we don't promote it enough or make it known or available or help with their lifeguard classes and
Is
other.
that through the swim club?
What's that?
Swim club or coach or teacher? Or who do
What
you-
is that?
What's that?
Eric Ball,
Eric, okay,
he's the one that
okay,
helps us promote.
okay, okay.
Oh, the aquatics director.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah, and their lifeguard classes and other things. We've just been much more open and upfront about it and promoting it. Because was it 2 years ago? This time we had
Yeah.
3,
Yeah,
and we had 3 going into the end of April. That's when we were having large posters printed off and putting them in the windows at Leroy's and Chips
Mhm.
and Culver's and the high school.
Good, good.
And hopefully we can continue to do. The other part too is that, by taking younger guards and doing a mentor type program, it helps with both ends. The experienced guards get a chance to do some training and to be leaders, and the young ones, it gives them a chance to, no pun intended, but get their feet wet without having to jump in head first and have that much responsibility from the minute you walk in the door. It just, I think it helps ease that transition and makes it less intimidating. Because it isn't the easiest thing in the world. People always, and they shouldn't, but to go out, they think you're sitting out there like Mitch Buchanan on Baywatch, getting a tan and just sitting there. It's not that. Especially in today's day and age where you're getting mouthed off to half the time by the kids that were dropped off or their parents for that matter. I mean, they catch it from a lot of different directions, but as long as we continue to support them and keep a good environment out there, hopefully we can keep the pipeline full.
We're also co-oping with the high school this year,
Mhm.
so some of the kids are actually getting credit for working by us,
Yeah, oh, good,
which is really, really good.
that's good. Thank you.
What days are you open it or close this year?
We'll do the same schedule as last year, the Tuesday through Sunday. We will remain closed on Mondays.
So, did you need a motion to change the hours, or is it just a?
Yeah, I think so. That probably would help if anybody has any issues. It's a commission decision. Or you guys support the decision.
Right. Yeah,
If-
I'll make a motion to adjust the hours to 11:30 to 6:30.
Thank you.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, we got new hours. All right, next thing is review or potentially approve a request from Merrill Fast Pitch, writing a grant for replacing lights and new playground equipment or upgrades at the Mark.
Okay, I was approached by Merrill Fast Pitch several weeks ago about this idea, and we met a few Fridays ago and discussed their ideas and their proposal, and been kind of talking back and forth here over the last few weeks, and it is their interest in putting lights up on one or two or potentially all of the fields at the Mark, depending upon funding and funding sources. The playground would be to upgrade the one that is located just to the west of where the restrooms are there. It's a smaller playground, serves a good purpose, but a lot of times during high school season, city league season, and during the tournament, it's pretty small and inadequate for the amount of little birds that are flying around the park. So the other part of their proposal besides the lights was to either move that smaller playground over to the north fields, where there isn't quite as much action, and put a bigger playground somewhere in that area where to replace the smaller one, which I think both of them are good. It's only good for the betterment of everybody, and whether it's the high school season, city league, the new Legion team coming in, or just park goers or summer playground kids that we have that are out there. I think it's a great improvement for the Mark and for the city. It is on here to make you aware first and foremost, and to seek permission, because we do have that policy that requires us, for if we're going to have a big project like this that would cost us annual operating funds, we have to have it approved here, and then I have to figure out, I can't remember if it's personnel and finance or city council or both, but it does have to go through that so that they can have the final say as to whether they want to do this. Playgrounds because it would be a natural, or should be a natural question, is what would it cost us to do this from an operations standpoint. We did start, I reached out to 3 Wisconsin-based lighting companies, and there are a few estimates that we did get to do 2 fields. This is from Musco, but to do 2 fields is between $340,000 and $365-ish thousand. That does not include power to the poles. That we do have power out there, so it would be somewhere in the $6,000 to $10,000 range, give or take. This was again from Musco. Wisconsin Lighting Lab was the other one. I'm still waiting to hear back from Wisconsin Electric, but that one was $75,000 to $100,000, but they did not include installation on theirs. So they're usually a little bit cheaper than Musco, but their warranty isn't quite as good. These are things that are down the line, but I'm just giving you a target number for your mind. And according to Musco, to do all of the fields out there, it would be 1.2 to 1.3 million, something like that. So from a tournament standpoint, fast pitch tournament standpoint, it does allow the organization to bring in minimum dozen teams right off the bat, more than what they already allow. So you're looking at low to mid 60s now on teams that can come here for a weekend from all over. Women's Legion, they are bringing a girls Legion team to Merrill starting this summer, and a lot of those games are under the lights in other communities. This would give them a chance to do that, and also have more games here, host larger events, possibly more tournaments. Girls high school games could do double headers without having to bump them up to 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, and hustle through them. It is a good thing. From a lighting standpoint, they would all be LED. Operating costs on LED are pennies on the dollar. I mean, we would still have an extra probably couple $1,000s that we would have to budget for when it comes to a light bill, electric bill out there. But yeah, I know we have a tight budget. At the end of the day, though, this would be made up in spades after one tournament. So, and that could be something that we potentially work on as we go. But these are nothing but positive investments for not only for our park system, but for our community. If we, and this is all dependent on grant funding, so it could be all, it could be 1, 2, none. It depends, but we need to start here. But if we'd light up, if there was the ability to light up 7 fields there, we would have a very unique complex, especially north of Highway 10 for sure. There is nothing like it. Even Xenoff doesn't have 7.
I don't think there'd be anything in the state that has 6 softball fields lit up.
That Rock Complex have 7. We would be one of 2 or 3. So at most. I have your stuff here, Dan. You pass that to Dan. So, any questions? And Chad can answer. He's the fast pitch guy.
Even to add on, even practices. I know when we start with City League, we you look out there on some days, there's people practicing in the fields, over by the soccer field, just because all the fields are being used. So it would help with practices once everything gets going. We did review, asked a couple people for letters. Everybody was pretty supportive of it. The high school, chamber. We're talking to the boys. I think the boys are gonna. We kind of talked to Dan. We kind of came in and we were talking 2 to 4 fields, and after talking, we're like, if we could light the whole thing up, it'd benefit a lot. It'd benefit baseball with having that field lit up. Like I said, it'd be kind of a neat thing because it'd be I already think it is one of the top complexes around, and we'll just give it that, push it over the top. And it'd be nice, our girls don't get to play under the lights ever, usually, unless we go out of town. So it would be another benefit for that, something they can always remember. I remember as a kid when I finally got to play senior league, you got to play underneath the lights. That was a pretty big moment.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
So it would just be an approval we're basically approving the grant writing process. Right?
Approve the idea of this going forward.
Right.
You support Merrill Fast Pitch, and ultimately so the other reason why it comes through here is once the light, we would have to have a lot to do with it. We have to order the lights and work with them, so it ends up becoming city property. We would insure them, and we would have to maintain them, but it's partnering with one of our organizations to see this through.
Mhm.
But ultimately, it's on city property, it would become city property.
I mean, I guess I don't see any negative side of approving something like this, because, you know, if we can get a grant written to help with that stuff, why wouldn't we? So
Mhm.
I look at it, I guess.
Amen.
I guess with that being said, I would make a motion to approve the grant seeking process. I guess I don't know how you want to phrase that exactly, but
Yeah, to approve Merrill Fast Pitch, partnership, Merrill Fast Pitch moving forward with a grant towards lights at the mark.
And playground.
And playground, yep,
And playground.
Right.
Yep.
I'll second it.
Got any more comment on it, or? All right, I'll take a vote, all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Oh, well, thank you for Merrill Fast Pitch. All right, next on the docket, we got monthly reports.
Any questions? We'll field those first.
I have one question. The bridge joining out at Dells, Prairie Dells, into the forest. Can you give us a brief update on where that's sitting right now?
Still exactly where we were last time. I just talked to Dean from the county before I left to come here, and it looks like April 9th, a new person, a new wetland expert from the DNR, which will be the first one, is going to come up and we have to have a wetland delineation on their side, on the county side.
Mhm.
So April 9th, hopefully they'll bring a supervisor with them too. I think this person is a first timer, but we disputed the fact that we need one politely and as far as we could and got nowhere. So it makes a difference in their mind, because if they do determine that there is wetland, then we have to do some things, mitigation and other stuff like that. If there isn't, then we can move forward. They like the location. They, being the DNR, likes the location. They like the idea. They think it's a good project, but a lot of times when they look on a map from a computer screen in Madison and they think it's wetland. It's not, but we have to have them determine that. So that's where we're at, waiting for them.
I guess to add to that, would the wetland delineation affect the cost? And I guess, would that affect the ARPA?
It could, yes.
Okay, would it still be enough to cover something like that?
Unless they get really squirrely, it shouldn't be enough to knock the bridge project off of their funding.
Okay.
Because it's such a small footprint, actually, of what we'd be impacting, we have to get access to the site from Prairie Dells Road, and then the site more so that they were worried about is the abutment site on the Prairie Dells side. So they may make us mitigate a 15 by 15 spot somewhere else so that we subtract what we add and add what we subtract.
Okay.
It's silly. I can say it on camera. It's silly.
Yeah, I
but
just was worried that maybe it would.
No, luckily, yeah. If we were in a legitimate swamp and we were trying to do this and debate it, then we would have some issues. But this is we are splitting hairs,
Okay.
in my opinion, and they know it too. But
Did you ever take any soils courses
oh yeah,
when you were at?
Agarazvi. Yep,
Also at UWSP,
yep,
which I've heard referred to as the Harvard of the Midwest,
yep.
perhaps.
I still remember,
You both are feeling good that,
still remember my professor's name,
good. Is he a
Yeah.
good professor?
Aga Razvi.
Is he-
Fantastic, he was tough. Impossible.
So you both are feeling good based on your knowledge of soils?
Yeah.
This
And-
will test out and will not be a wetland.
And the county has a wetland person, Lauren Bolquist. She was up there 3 times.
So tell me, when is this all gonna get, what has to happen? Someone have to dig a hole and look in it, or someone have?
Yeah, they'll come up and they'll do a soil sample. They will also use wetland plant identifiers, which,
Will they be able to claim their lunch expenses that day when out in the field? I'm just curious.
oh yeah, yes.
All right, I understand, thank you.
Since we're talking soil and topography, how about the east end of the new trail towards the water sewer treatment plant?
Can you repeat that?
The continuation of the trail to the east from the end of
By the water
Patty
utilities?
Street, yeah, behind the water treatment plant. Any update on anything? I know that's probably another entity's, but it's going across some city property, right?
Well, the stuff that was done
There's
is
some
on city
wetland
property.
There's some wetland in there, too.
There is. So the idea on that one is to not improve it. It's going to be a path similar to what we have on the Thrivent Trail.
Mhm.
If it's a cleared, call it a cattle path that does not impede floodwaters, you can do it. They made us remove the wood chips when they tried to wood chip the Thrivent Trail. When the DNR, they jumped the gun a little bit on that one, but one of the guys that's actually coming up to
So that area will not be paved?
Doubtful. I don't know that there would ever be a way that could be paved.
Mhm.
That is floodway.
Okay.
Most of it is until you come up. I don't know if you've been through it.
No. I have
Okay,
not.
when you cross the creek area, perspective wise, it's probably 200 yards in as you're going to the east from the treatment plant. The creek that kind of meanders its way through, it comes up, and there's a looks like an old trail that had been through there up on the hillside. Until you get there, then you might be able to. That's right on we had some elevations done on that. It's right on the flood fringe. But the stuff, as you drop down the hill from water utility, there's a couple hundred yards there that will never be able
Mhm.
to be paved or even gravelled or wood chipped.
Does the trail or did they start developing that at all, or clearing any of that to the east?
Yes, yep.
I
Yeah, there was.
haven't been back there.
Okay, yeah, there was 2 or 3 work days last year of brushing and clearing out. It's actually real passable now.
Mhm. Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
And how far to the west does that go? Is it like passable to where the pavement is?
Well, it's right now the official termination of that portion is Bluebird Lane, which is a private drive. The ultimate goal there would be to bump it out to Big Eddy, and then that gets us to that.
If you go back towards the city to the west,
Oh,
um,
it would be right where, what is that, Logan Ave? Right where Logan Ave meets the driveway to the wastewater facility, or the treatment plant. And it'll die where the,
between the treatment plant and where the existing paved trail is going to the west, that is not developed yet.
well, and that will remain a bike route designation. We have,
Up on Logan Street.
Yep,
I
yep.
mean, right along the river, that's a section that, at this point, is not part of the trail.
it is not.
Yeah.
There's
Logan.
private property and we walked that last year a couple of times, and both of the property owners in between Cooper Street and the wastewater utility are willing to work with us. One wants money, the other one would have to have some kind of trade-off. topography in there is a little bit better than the east of the treatment plant, but not much better. It would be nice to do that, but this was, after spinning wheels talking about it, this was the easiest way to just keep it moving. The traffic count on Logan has to be 50 or less vehicles a day. It's quiet traffic. So that's a perfect spot, like when we had done it initially, bump it out, do a bike route designation, and get moving. Yep.
I see the Nicholas Bridge, you decided to go with the concrete.
Yes.
And
Yep.
do they give you kind of how long that'll last? I mean, I know it's maintenance free, but
Well, if we,
walking bridge like that.
yeah, they 30 plus years. They're gonna go 6 inches too. So we'll take the 5/4 deck boards off, and then we'll work with Streets because they have a few extra guys, but we'll talk nicely to them and see if they can help us put the treated plywood down, and then those guys will come back. They're gonna pour it the long way in half. So they'll go from west to east or east to west, whichever one is easier to get the truck in. And they'll pour half, let it cure for a few days, and then they'll do the other half. They'll put about a 2% pitch on it so that everything runs off. That's the trick on there too, is if we engineer it the right way, we'll have to drill some weep holes in because they put that metal toe kick in when we have right now how we have the deck boards, but this way we can do that and try to shed water, snow, and other things that'll last longer. Probably do a broom finish on it too.
Colored or no?
What's that?
Colored?
We can. I would like to if their price stays the same. Do it like brick colored maybe, something that blends in earthy. Like this or the chair. It doesn't cost all that much. It's a powder mix that they put in as they go.
Good.
Any other questions? All right. Otherwise, not much. Ice is out. It was a fairly efficient process this year. As of yesterday afternoon, everything's out. We still have some scrubbing to do in there and get ready for dry floor stuff. Hopefully this weather stays like this, because this might be one of the very, very rare years that we have an opportunity to, we might have a chance to drag fields next week, which would be, 40 days earlier than last year. So it really always cross our fingers for this, because then we don't have to do everything at the same time, get bathrooms up and unwinterized, cleaned and ready to go, and drag fields, put on bases, get stuff ready, because normally it's all the Little League and the high school and all the sports are pounding on the gates to get in, and we're still trying to finish up. So,
One more question.
no. Fire away.
Boat landings.
Yeah,
Odds Park update or?
I met yesterday with Mr. Dvorak from Dvorak Docks out of Elko. They sell commercial flow docks, they're called, but and I think we're going to go with him. They have a aluminum roll-in commercial dock that has a welded decking system on it, so people can't pull the panels or anything like that. And he just emailed me when I was on my way down here, so their price was really good. It fits within what we had budgeted almost exactly. They have a good warranty. They're local. I mean, they're from Elko, but they take really good. I did talk to a few commercial entities that had used them over the past few years, and they raved about them and how good they take care of their stuff. So that he said, because of this weather, their guys, I think they lay their guys off in the wintertime, but they started working this week. So that's something that if I have to look at what we changed a few things yesterday while we were down there, but if it still fits and is still good, I can order it tomorrow, and he said we might even be able to put it in next week. Otts Park is, I am waiting to meet with Brian Ludke, the guy who did the boat the boat launch at Riverside Park. I want him to do the same at Otts. He did such a good job there that it still looks almost brand new, which is fantastic. So I've been corresponding back and forth with him. I just have to find a time for him to come in. The dock part is still still awaiting county approval and funding. And I think I talked to Renee this afternoon about the Map It thing, but
Excuse me.
on March, what day is that, 16th? No, 19th, it's during spring break. But there's a county board meeting where they're going to discuss some of the finalization of the projects that not only we submitted to them, but others, so.
Do you have a boat count when people use it? Or, you don't?
No.
You know, I saw 4 trailers at Otts Park last weekend already.
Yep.
You know, and I don't think a lot of people realize.
It's used more than people think. I
Yeah,
know on the council floor, and you've heard the argument, because
Yeah.
I've had to argue
Yeah.
about it for 5 years, but
Yeah.
Riverside is even more than that, just
Yeah.
because of the river guides from Wausau that come up,
Yeah.
so.
Okay, that's all. Thank you.
Yeah. Any other?
I guess it's not necessarily related to the director's report, but I had a question about like the grant writing side of things. Like, do you think a separate grant writer for the city would be beneficial?
Yeah. Yeah.
I guess. Do you have an estimate of how much time it would save you?
I think a grant writer would be good. There are plenty of grants that we also could write too, where you look at how much time you would have to invest for what the DNR has some small grants, $500. When you look at it, do you spend 15, 20 hours writing a grant that costs you that much to write? There's things like that where, yeah, I think every department would benefit by having a person that you could, do a little bit of the homework or research and say, hey, would you mind submitting this?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, be helpful.
Yeah, I was just curious because of the baseball grant writing too. If we had a city grant writer, I'm sure it would help with that as well.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. There are plenty of communities that have people that just write grants. Yeah.
Well, I would encourage it.
Yeah, that would be good. Any other?
All right, well, thanks, Dan.
Thank you.
This next is to set a date and time for next meeting. Be the 3rd.
You're killing me. You should get half this check.
It would be April 3rd.
It's right after election.
All right, we got April 3rd. And then at 4:15 again?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in here, right?
Yes. Yep. I think that was a one-off. Us getting detention in the basement. They forgot and booked it.
I won't be here on April 3rd.
Okay.
We'd be gone, right?
And this county, there should be, we need 4.
Yep.
for quorum.
Yep. Long as we get everybody else, we're good. If I hear anything else, we'll adjust. But
Just keep it nice and short like this one.
yeah. Amen.
All right, public comment?
Dustin?
All right, then I'll be looking for adjournment.
I so move.
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.